Right, okay. ඊට පස්සේ මේකේ තව ප්‍රශ්නයක් අහනවා how important is it to arrive early in your country කියලා. How important is it to arrive early in your country? ඒ කියන්නේ ඔබේ රටේ කලින් පැමිණීම කොච්චර වැදගත්ද කියන එක I think actually එතකොට මේකට අපි දීර්ඝ වශයෙන් අපි ටිකක් කතා කරන්න ඕන. These are called discussion topics. මේවට discussion topics කියලා කියන්නේ අතර මේකේ සාකච්ඡා මාධ්‍යලේ ප්‍රශ්න. එතකොට මේවට දීර්ඝ වශයෙන් ටිකක් වැඩිපුර කතා කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් අපිට ලොකු දැනුමක් ගැනීමේ හැකියාව තියෙනවා. So you have the ability to obtain a large amount of knowledge if you can speak extensively, and also to speak extensively also you need the profound knowledge. ටිකක් ගැඹුරු දැනුමක් අවශ්‍යයි. ඉතින් ටිකක් ඉංග්‍රීසි ඉගෙන ගන්නවා කියන්නේ ටිකක් පුළුල් ලෙස කතා කරන්න ඉගෙන ගන්නවා කියන්නේ ඒක තමයි. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා කොහොමද අපි මේ දැනුම ගන්න කියන කාරණාව තමයි අපි සැලකිලිමත් වෙන්න ඕන කාරණා. So what we need to take into our consideration is that how to develop an English knowledge to speak extensively about these type of open topics. මේ වගේ විවිධ මාතෘකා පිළිබඳ දීර්ඝ වශයෙන් අපි කතා කරන කොහොමද ඉගෙන ගන්න කියන කාරණාව තමයි අත්‍තරම ඉංග්‍රීසි භාෂාවේ මේ දැනුම කියලා කියන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒ දැනුම ගන්න හැටි තමයි අපි සැලකිලිමත් වෙන්න ඕනේ. හොඳයි. බලන්න මේකටත් මම පිළිතුර දෙන්න හදන්නේ. So how important is it to arrive early in your actually well it is real අපි පටන් ගන්නකොට well කියලා පටන් ගන්න. ඒක සාමාන්‍ය ඉංග්‍රීසි වල තියෙන සම්ප්‍රදායක්. ඒක ඉතින් ඒකේ තේරුම මේකයි කියලා නිශ්චිතව විග්‍රහ කරන්න යන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. So well කියලා පටන් ගන්න. ඒක ඉංග්‍රීසි භාෂාවේ තියෙන සම්ප්‍රදායක්. සම්ප්‍රදායක් තියෙනවා අපි සම්ප්‍රදාය ගරු කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒක තමයි සම්ප්‍රදායට කරන් තියෙන්නේ. So how important is it to arrive early in your country? Well, actually arriving early is actually extremely important in our country because everywhere actually we consider arriving early. For example, if you go to a hospital, we expect the doctors to arrive early to the clinics, and so if they get late, sometimes people do not like that, and sometimes people express their ideas negatively about the punctuality. You know, punctuality is an extremely important factor. And also when people go to work also, they need to arrive early at the workplace. So if they get late and continue to get late, so they lose a lot of labor hours, and that is actually that affects the macroeconomic development of a country. එතකොට දීර්ඝ වාසයෙන් මිනිස්සු පරක් වෙලා වැඩට යනවා නම් ඒක සාර්වාර්ථිකයට වර්ධනයට බලපානවා. ඒක නිසා so therefore actually it is very important people arrive early in their workplaces. And also actually if you go to a place like actually airport, or if you go to a place like government office also, we expect the workers there to arrive early. And in government offices actually we see so this allegation is always there for the government officers who work in the offices. They continue to get late, and as a result of that actually a lot of people sometimes spend a lot of time outside these offices, and they waste a lot of time there. So the time is actually sometimes a really important thing because people have to survive and people have to work hard to earn their living every day. So therefore actually we need to be punctual when we arrive at works and interviews, and also in the schools. So when we go to schools also, in the schools, so punctuality is a really important thing. And if you get late, actually it will be sometimes anyone can undergo disciplinary action. So if teachers get late and continue to get late, so they will also have to answer the questions asked by the principals. And also if students get late also, they will have to answer the questions asked by their teachers. And if they continue to get late, actually definitely they will have to face various penalties, various punishments. So therefore it is really important arriving early in every situation and everywhere in Sri Lanka. I think this is the same as in other countries also actually. So a lot of developed countries they consider punctuality as a really important thing, and they also tell others to be punctual, and they also emphasize always the importance of punctuality. ඒකට වෙලාවට වැඩ කරන එක පිළිබඳව ඒගොල්ලෝ ගොඩක් අවධාරණය කරනවා. ඉතින් එතකොට මෙන්න මේ වගේ අපි මේ පිළිබඳ කතා කරන්නට අවශ්‍යයි. You need to talk like this about this type of topics. If sometimes you see in government offices actually, when we go there, if one officer sometimes get late, so a large number of people sometimes stay outside the office, sometimes in queues. So as a result of that, he becomes responsible for the wastage of a lot of time of a lot of people. So therefore actually punctuality is really important, and arriving early is really important, because if everyone arrives early, so that helps to save a lot of time, and that time can be spent on the development of our country. So therefore, arriving early is actually considered as one very important thing in our country, and arriving early so is also included in their code of ethics and code of conduct in different types of offices and workplaces. So especially in private institutions such as banks and other industries, so punctuality is really important, and they definitely have to arrive early. And sometimes for this main purpose, so various transport services also have been provided by the companies themselves. So that is mainly because actually these institutions expect their workers to arrive early in their workplace. Right. What kinds of jobs require the most patience? What kinds of jobs require the most patience? Actually, there are a lot of jobs where we need patience, and I think in almost every job we need a certain amount of patience. For example, if we take a teacher, so the teachers have to listen to sometimes hundreds of complaints a day brought by the students. So he has to listen to everyone, and also he has to sometimes respond as well as the teachers have to settle the sometimes the conflicts among children. And also sometimes the principals in the schools also have to be extremely patient, because they also have to work with a lot of problems in the school. So if you go to a hospital, actually you see the nurses and doctors are there, so they also have to actually work with extreme patience. For example, a doctor has to listen to the patients, as well as sometimes if the surgeon is carrying out certain surgery, so this surgeon has to have an extreme amount of patience, and he has to carry out the surgery with extreme patience, and also with an expertise. So otherwise actually the life of the patient will be at risk. So the nurses also actually sometimes have to work extremely patiently, because when they work with these patients, sometimes there are a lot of places, sometimes they might get angry. So they can't get angry because they are attending patients, and so therefore they have to be extremely patient in hospitals. And also there are sometimes the preschool teachers who work in the preschools, so they have to also have an extreme amount of patience, because they are working with the small kids, and these kids sometimes do not understand that they are not matured, as well as they do not have a deep understanding about anything. So therefore definitely these teachers, the preschool teachers, also have to work with extreme patience, and they need to have the whole lot of patience actually. So patience is an extremely important for these preschool teachers also. Another type of jobs actually we need patience is the drivers. For example, so there are sometimes drivers who sometimes drive buses and passenger vehicles especially, and they have to sometimes drive long distances. So in that case they have to have an extreme amount of patience. For example, if they are just stuck in a certain kind of traffic congestion, so they have to be extremely patient, because otherwise they will not only risk the lives of the passengers on board, but also risk the lives of the pedestrians and a lot of other people who sometimes travel on roads. So what kinds of jobs require most patience? Patience. So that is the question that I am providing this answer. ප්‍රශ්න තමයි මම පිළිතුර සපයමින් ඉන්නේ. ඉතින් IELTS book 12 page number 29 පිටු අංකය 29 පිටුවේ තියෙන පාඩම් ටික තමයි සඳහා තමයි මම මේ වීඩියෝ ඉදිරිපත් කරමින් ඉන්නේ. What kinds of jobs need the most? So another type of jobs is actually the pilots. So pilots also sometimes have to fly for several hours continuously. So in that case actually they have to have an extreme amount of patience. But sometimes these pilots fall asleep, and at that kind of time sometimes they operate the autopilot systems. However, actually, so that is a great risk, and there are examples where both the pilots have sometimes fallen asleep. So that is actually a very dangerous situation where these the large number of lives on board have to take an extreme amount of risk. So therefore actually pilots also have to have a large amount of patience. Patience is actually something important in the jobs of these pilots as well as air hostesses also, who provide the service for the passengers on board the planes. So in addition to that, so there are also the people who work, also sometimes the laborers. So they actually work very hard, and the people who work sometimes in extreme heights such as the lamp posts, who are sometimes work with these providing electricity facilities, also have to have an extreme amount of patience and also care, because when the laborers are up on the lamp post, sometimes if they give the connection, sometimes their lives might be in risk, and there are a lot of instances where they have lost their lives. And also when these laborers work up in extreme heights on the lamp post, they still have to be very patient, because if they get panic, sometimes they can fall down and face terrible disasters. So therefore that is the place where they need to have patience. There are also a lot of other jobs where you need to have patience, and the patience is actually something very important in every type of jobs.